To beast or not to beast? Booktube? That's not even a question. I have arrived. Let's go. What's up, all you beautiful beasties? Welcome to the channel, the very first video. It's me, it's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I know, we're about to talk about some books. That's right. First one's free. All right, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to start this YouTube journey, start this channel, and have those of you that take the time out of your day to watch this. I'm really excited to have you along, and I hope this is the beginning of a beautiful, long friendship. Today, I'm doing kind of a channel introduction, introducing me, my channel, what I'm going to do, but also letting you learn about me as a reader through the new beast, Booktube Tag, where I'm going to answer some questions about my reading likes and dislikes and my reading journey through my life, so you can get to know me a little bit. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited. If you haven't yet, or if you're going to wait till the end to decide if you like what I'm doing here, please like and subscribe. That'll help this grow. And also make sure you leave a comment down below to say hello. I can't wait to meet you there. All right, so a little bit about me first. I am the bearded book beast. I am a middle-aged man with a beard. But my name's Chris. I love to read, but for my job in real life, I am a teacher. Before that, I was a nurse for a long time, but always wanted to be a teacher. I became a nurse because at the time when I got out of high school and stuff, teaching wasn't really needed in Michigan where I live, but healthcare was, of course, so I got into nursing to help people and loved it. Worked with special needs adults for most of my nursing career, but I always missed teaching, felt like I missed my calling of getting into teaching. So eventually I went back to school, worked hard, got my master's in teaching, and the last few years I've been a teacher. Love it. I work at the local high school here. I live in West Michigan, near Lake Michigan, in a little town called Hudsonville, and I work at the high school here. Love what I do. I'm a resource teacher, which means my students have either a learning disability with writing or math or reading, something like that, or they might have an emotional impairment, something that gets in the way of their learning, like depression or anxiety, social anxiety, things like that. And I just help them. They come to me 1 hour a day. They have all their regular classes. I make sure they have what they need to succeed in their classes, help them with organization, meeting deadlines, and just helping them grow as people. That's the biggest thing I like to do, give them a safe place where they know that I have high expectations of them, but that I see the potential there and I see the good person that they are and that they can grow into become. And I get them at the beginning of their high school journey, and I get to see them go all the way through and then graduate and walk across that stage, and there's nothing better. Just had graduation a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty awesome. Love my job. Very blessed to do it. Yeah, so that's what I do, but I also love to read. That's why we're here. Before we get into the questions, a little bit about my family. I am married. I've been married for 15 great years to my wife. She is not a reader, which I'll get into and think, well, she is kind of, when she feels like it. And then we have 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy. My one son is in 8th grade, just got back from his East Coast trip, got to go to New York City and Washington, D.C. and Boston and do all this really cool stuff. So I'm excited for him, excited to hear more about his trip. He got back early this morning and has been sleeping all day because he's a little tired, understandably so. And then I have 3 daughters. My oldest is in college, a freshman in college, just finished her first year of college. And then, of course, my son is and just finished 8th grade. He'll be at the high school with me next year, which will be fun. And then my next oldest is going into 5th grade. And then my youngest daughter is just finished kindergarten and will be going into 1st grade. So we're busy, but life is good. I love my family, love my kids. They're the greatest thing I ever did. And yeah, life is good. So, why you're here. The Booktube, no, the New Beast Booktube tag. Let's get into it. Now that that introductione is done, dang it. All right, I should talk about the channel. So real quick, I'm just excited to be here. Excited to bring you content. I'll talk about this in the tag, but just so you know, with my channel, I'm gonna, let's just skip that. All right, let's get into it. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Well, easy question first. To meet other book beasts like you, which I'm excited to do. Excited to get to know you through the comment section and our community and all the other things I'm going to start. I'm on some social media right now, the usuals like Instagram and Twitter, X, Goodreads, all that stuff. But eventually, I do want to figure out Discord and start a Patreon down the road and all that stuff. So I'm excited to get to know you guys. But for now, in the comment section, can't wait to discuss books with you and talk about stuff. The other reason, just because I love to read, and no one in my family or my friend group really likes to read, so I don't have anyone to talk to books about. Some people at work do, but most of the time they read a lot of more contemporary fiction or classical stuff, or like I work with a lot of women, so a lot of it is romance stuff or thrillers, which I do enjoy all that stuff. But nobody I know really reads fantasy like I do or sci-fi. So yeah, that's a big part of it. Just have people to talk to. That when I talk about First Law or Red Rising or something, people don't give me the stink eye. You're all gonna be like, yeah, that's awesome. That book is sweet, man. So yeah, that's a big reason why. My wife likes to read sometimes. She'll get into a book here or there. She really likes historical fiction, especially set during World War II era. That's her kind of favorite thing. But she likes thrillers too. I got her the Frida McFadden Housemaid books, and she really liked those. So um, yeah, the new one's coming out this summer, so she'll be getting into that. But she doesn't like sci-fi fantasy. She actually hates comic book stuff and superheroes, Star Wars. My son loves all that, but he's not really into reading. He used to love to read. All my kids did when they're young, but then I feel like they do it so much for school that they get sick of it, and then hopefully eventually he'll rediscover it, but we'll see. But yeah, so just to have people that I can talk to about books, because I think my family and friends and students get sick of me trying to talk about it when they don't know what I'm talking about. So that is the biggest thing, to be a part of this community and talk to people about the thing that we all love, reading. I have notes down here to help me remember the questions. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So I think my approach could be cool because I'm a teacher, but also as a resource special ed teacher, I have to think outside the box, try different things, whatever it takes to reach all my students to help them learn and grow and succeed. So I think being creative and thinking outside the box and not being afraid to make a fool of myself will come in handy here on BookTube and hopefully create some fun content. And also help me to connect with you all in an authentic, real way and just be myself. So yeah, I think that I can bring some fun ideas. Like I have some, I'm gonna do regular TBR wrap up, top 10 type videos, but I also have some pretty cool ideas with challenges and vlogs and things that I think are gonna be a lot of fun that you can look forward to. Um, so yeah, next question number 3. What are you most excited about for this channel? Similar to why I started it, just to meet all you book beasts, to get to talk to people about books. Um, I've been watching BookTube for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I've always just kind of been a lurker, comment here and there, but I don't get super involved. I just watch everything and read through everyone else's comments. So I'm excited to step out and really get myself out there and meet people, um, get some book friends through BookTube, and also maybe even meet other booktubers that I've been watching. So it's just going to be really awesome. I'm most excited to just meet people that love books like I do. Um, Why do I love reading? Question 4. Why do you love reading? I, I had to think about this one to think about how I would describe reading and why I love it. And I think it's because of there's just nothing like it. Like I love video games, I love movies and TV shows, um, but nothing is the same as getting lost in a book. Like I'll try to explain what I mean. Like you watch a show and you can be invested in the characters, you can love it, it can and really suck you in, but it's showing you what's happening, so you're seeing it. You're an observer, and it's enjoyable. I love it, but it's not the same as with the book. Just like playing a video game, you're making the character move around the screen. You're invested, but you're still watching it. You're watching it happen. You might have more say in what happens, but you're still watching a story. You're part of the story that's unfolding in front of your eyes. Whereas reading, you really just get sucked in because you have to envision it all with your imagination, your mind. They paint the picture, but you have to use your mind to see it. You really have to get into it and get lost. And you're in the characters' heads, so you get to know them so well. And nothing else gives you that experience where you learn to love these characters like family and friends, and when something bad happens to them, it affects you and it sits with you afterwards. And these worlds, you can feel like you're there. You know they paint the picture, and then you imagine it with your mind. And there's just nothing like it. Reading is awesome. I feel like it's the greatest escape from real life. That also at the same time can really parallel and connect you through real life and things that have happened to you and people that you know and hardships you've gone through. And reading's awesome. That's why I love to read. What books or series got you into reading? So I do have a few, and I have them here to show you. So when I was young, I read a lot, but up until probably elementary, like late elementary school, fourth or fifth grade, I think, is when I got into my first real big fantasy series. Before that, I was reading, I don't know, like Bunnicula, that vampire bunny, um, or like Amelia Bedelia series and stuff like that. I think, gosh, I don't even remember really before I got this series I'm about to talk about what I really had read. I'll have to think about that someday and see if, but I mean, yeah, Goosebumps, stuff like that. But then I was at when I went to elementary school, we had like a library hour, like kids still do now. And I remember looking around at books and I saw this book that looked pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, I'll check that out. And then that became my jam. It was Redwall by Brian Jock. Jock? Jocks? I, I do not know how to pronounce his last name. It's something I got to get better at with Booktube because I'm so used to just reading things, and then I don't say them out loud, and I don't talk to anybody about books, so I don't always know how to say their names. I've always said Jock, but it could be Jocques, Jocks. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, Redwall. Love this series. It's about animals, forest animals, and some are good, some are evil. It's kind of funny how those get decided, but mice are the main good guys, rats are the main bad guys, but then you have, other bad things like ferrets and foxes and, oh gosh, I don't know, I have to think about what other things there are. Um, but then there's the good things. You've got rabbits and mice and squirrels, hedgehogs, and it's just so cool. The Redwall Abbey is the place where these good animals live, and then every once in a while there's just a war they end up having with a bad group of people that are trying to take from them, or the world, this cool fantasy world he created. There's other places. There's a place in the mountain called Salamanstrun where there's badgers and really cool animals that are good there. And then there's pirates that are really bad that come. I mean, it's just cool. It's pretty awesome. But Redwall is the first book I read, first one in the series, not chronologically technically, but the first one published. And it's just awesome. And it's kind of grimdark, which I love grimdark. And a lot, it's war. The great character building. You learn to love these characters because even though they're animals, they're like people. They wear clothes, eat food. Oh, the food, the way he describes food is crazy. But they have fight with weapons, and people die. Animals die in this. Characters you love die. He's so good at making you care about these characters, and then they die. I mean, it's classic good versus evil. And later in the series, he does start to get into that gray, which is why it does seem like grimdark, where there's some characters that are bad, but you start rooting for them. So anyway, this series was awesome. I haven't finished it yet, so that is something I want to eventually do, pick up where I left off. I got about halfway through the series, all the way up to what was out at the time, and then I got into other things and got older and never went back. And I would love to finish this and do lots of content on the channel about these. But yeah, awesome books, and this really got me into fantasy, and from there it kind of took off. The next one I'll talk about was, then I read a lot of Redwall and some other things. No other really series or anything. But then I got into my upper high school, young adult, like 18, 19 time, and was really reading a lot of superhero stuff, getting into comics a lot, reading books based off superheroes, stuff like that. Still reading Redwall, and then I was trying to find a new series to get into, and there was a couple that really took my life by storm again, and one was Repairman Jack, starting with The Tomb by F. Paul Wilson. Just really cool. I always kind of dug that kind of stuff, like Jack Reacher and those kinds of books, the lone wolf guy that was just kind of a BA helping people out. But what I loved about Repairman Jack was that he was just a regular guy, lived off the grid, didn't have a social security number, so he was out of the public eye, away, live life on his own terms, and help people repair things that other people couldn't, fix problems that other people couldn't. What I loved the most about him was that he lived in New York City, and he had roots, and he had found family and people that he cared about that he could lose, where some of those other things like Jack Reacher and stuff, they're awesome, but they travel around, they go around, they're a wanderer, a drifter, and they don't have those roots. And I mean, they have found family and people they care about, but I just mean like having a home in a city that's yours, that you want to protect, and people in that city that you love. And I just thought that was really cool. So I love that series, read all of those. There's some prequels that I haven't read, so that's some more things I want to read and talk about on the channel. But then at the same time, I also found Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, starting with Stormfront. Loved Harry Dresden, loved these books, read through all of them, really enjoyed them. I'll do some content about them. Lots of other people have, obviously, but love these books. I'm all caught up finally on these. I took a little break because this book series also became very important to me because my mom started reading them, and then we would talk about them together after a new book came out. And unfortunately, I was very close to my mom, but she died of cancer in 2011. And the last book we read together and talked about was Changes, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, she got to read that book, and then after that she passed. She was reading short story collection, which I do have, Side Jobs. That was what she was reading at the time she passed, and it's pretty cool. I have that book, and I'll go through that more in another video another time. But I have a bookmark on there in the page she was on before she passed. That's really special to me. So this series means a lot. I did stop reading it for a little bit. After my mom passed, I didn't read a lot, and I got married and had kids and was getting into my career and all that kind of stuff. But I am caught up now, and that series means a lot to me because it was something special me and my mom shared. So yeah, that was a big series to me. Loved it. Same thing as with Repairman Jack. He had his roots in Chicago, had his family, had something he fought for, and just awesome characters. Love that world and that story and those characters. Can't wait for the next one to come out. Like I said, after my mom passed, then I didn't read for a while, but then a few years ago I found Booktube and got into 3 specific series that really got me excited about reading again. The first one was, I guess probably the first one was The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, First Law World. This is probably my favorite series of all time. Love it. Love the characters. Love the world. Love his writing. Can't wait for The Devils to come out next year. But yeah, just love these books. I forgot how much I loved reading and how much I loved getting lost in the world and falling in love with characters. Just love that. All of them. I love the first trilogy. Love the standalone trilogy, which I'll talk about that in some first law videos and content down the road. But I don't think they're standalone because those are such a cool way to bridge the gap between the first trilogy and the second trilogy. That I mean, I guess you could read them on their own, but I feel like they are just such an important part of painting connecting both trilogies that you should not skip them. But anyway, and the other one that really got me back into reading, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Oh, love this series. Loved it. Love Darrow. Love all the characters. Such an awesome series. Really cool. Definitely want to do some content on that as well. And the other one at the same time was Orphan X by Greg Hurwitz. This is just an awesome series. I always loved Repairman Jack, but it had a supernatural horror edge to it, and I thought it'd be kind of cool if there was a series with a guy that like lived off the grid and helped people, but there was no supernatural, just in our regular world, and that's what Orphan X is. It's really good. It's the orphan program. I'll do content on this and talk about it more. I'm all caught up in the series. I'll actually do a review for the most recent book pretty soon. But the government had this orphan program where they went to basically orphanages and took kids that were orphans, didn't have families or parents, and put them through this training to make them become assassins for the government to use. And Orphan X is one of them. So I'll talk more about it, but it's just about him breaking free of that and kind of becoming the nowhere man that helps people and lives, off the grid and has like his own fake life. But same thing as with Repairman Jack. He has found family, people he cares about, a city that is where he lives. And yeah, it's just awesome. So I can't wait to talk to you guys more about that series. But those were the ones that really got me into reading at different parts in my life, and they all mean a lot to me. What questions would you... So wait, which one are we on now? We are on question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the question I just did was number 5 is alive. Have you ever seen Short Circuit, that movie with the robot? Number 5, Johnny 5? If not, it's okay, but that's a pretty cool movie. All right, so question number 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktuber? I think I would just want to get to know them more as people, like their interests and what they like besides reading. But also some of these questions, like when did they get into reading? When did they first find Booktube? What made them decide to do Booktube? What are some of their favorite books? Like some of that I know from their channels, but just to pick their brain more, to get to know them more as a reader and a person, but also to learn from them, because, anything in life you want to get better at, it's good to surround yourself with people that know what they're doing and have been successful at it. So, yeah, I would just want to ask them a lot about them as people and get to know them better as a reader and as people. Question number 7, what challenges do you think starting a YouTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think the biggest thing for me will be overcoming an imposter syndrome. Not thinking I'm cringe every time I make a video. Just not, as my kids or students would say, not being skivvy. But yeah, just being myself, being authentic, and not trying to be something different or thinking, oh gosh, I hate how I sound or look in that video, I'm not going to put it out, and keep redoing them over and over again. Like just getting over that, putting stuff out and just being happy with it and having fun, and letting people get to know me and see me and be a part of this community. So I think that'll be the hardest thing for me, is not letting that inner voice tell me, oh, you shouldn't do that, you look dumb, you sound dumb, nobody's going to want to care about what you talk about, that kind of stuff. Overcoming that. Question number 8, when did you start reading? I always read. Came out of the womb reading. My mom read to me a lot. She was a big part of my reading journey. But yeah, I always read, my whole life. When I was young, I think my mom read to me, and then as soon as I was old enough to read on my own, I read on my own, and I read a lot. And I really didn't stop reading until, I was an adult and had um, kind of when I moved out and was trying to make my own way in life and going to school and working and 2 jobs and all that stuff, and then getting married and having a family, that stretch, I missed out on a lot of great books, which I'm excited to have this channel to hold me accountable to backtrack, to read new stuff, but also backtrack and read some of the things that I missed that I think I would have loved, that I've heard about on Booktube. So yeah, I started my whole life. Where do you read? I'll put a picture up right here. But I mostly read in my mom's old chair that was hers um, before she passed. It's a nice beat up leather chair with a footrest, and I have it in the corner of my living room by a window that overlooks my backyard, set up so that I can see my living room and kitchen, so I can read, but also see what's going on with my kids and wife and talk to them. That's my favorite place to read. Uh, Otherwise, I like to listen to audiobooks when I'm doing yard work or chores or making dinner or chores around the house. Sometimes on my work breaks, I'll listen to an audiobook. I prefer reading. I've never tried immersion reading where you listen and read. I prefer reading on my Kindle, or physical books are my favorite. Audiobooks, like some people have said before, I have a hard time. Sometimes I miss things and I have to re-listen a bunch of times, or I'm not really paying attention while I'm doing something else. But if it's like a long series I'm trying to catch up on, or a classic book or something like that, I'll do audio. And if I have to go, I usually like to make sure I have the physical copy too. So if I miss something or have to check on something, I'll go back and look. But yeah, those are the places I read. And what kind of books do you like to read? Um, Fantasy and sci-fi are my favorite, but I also like thrillers, horror. Um, I like a little cozy fantasy. I like a little romance. Um, I loved rom-com movies growing up. I'll admit it. They were fun. So I love books that have that vibe. But my biggest thing is fantasy and sci-fi. Especially grimdark is my favorite. But yeah, I like all of that stuff. It's all really good stuff. Um, I love urban fantasy. That was one of my favorites for a long time. I love some crime stuff, detective stories, especially if the detective has like a quirk or something different, like the Bone Collector from Jeffrey Deaver. I always loved how he was, handicapped and in a wheelchair. No, I didn't love that he was, but that was a cool thing that made it different. Or like Memory Man, I really like by David Baldacci. Um, that's a really cool series because of him being able to memorize things so well. Just things like that. I really like being a wizard, like Harry Dresden. Obviously, you mix fantasy and detective stuff together, and that's really cool urban fantasy stuff. But anyway, those are all my favorite things I love to read. Um, and that's all 10 questions. Woo! We did it. So yeah, that's me as a reader. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. Um, Hopefully, having things below helped you skip questions if you didn't care or go back and forth. But yeah, I just really appreciate you being here to kick off my channel. I'm gonna do videos every day, so look forward to that. Um, and I'll have something up every day, whether it's a review, a wrap up, a look ahead, book hauls, some challenges, top 10 videos, looking at book sales going on, checking sales out to let you guys know, because I love those kinds of videos for video games. So I want to do them for this, and just all sorts of fun stuff I have planned. Can't wait to share that all with you guys and grow this channel and get to know so many of you. So leave a comment and say hello. Like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, devour those TBRs, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. See you.